Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
Hey, what is animal chiropractic? People ask me that all the time. Animal chiropractic is a lot of different things to different people, and it's promoted as a lot of different things. It's promoted as an alternative health care, which it is. It's promoted as, it's promoted as a way to treat sickness and disease, and it kind of is. And but people are always asking, well, can you treat this? Can you treat this? Can you treat this? And the answer is, well, we really don't treat anything. And that's very difficult for people to understand. What I do as an animal chiropractor is remove interference from your animal's nervous system. I do that with my hands by removing what we call vertebral subluxations. Vertebral subluxations cause a dampening on your animal's nervous system. It allows communication to be restricted to the brain and from the legs and back and forth, and so it's hard for an animal to know what to do when that communication is restricted. It's kind of like, if your significant other calls you up and says, hey, I need you to stop at the grocery and pick on your hole from, there is no way you're going to get it done, because that communication has interruptions in it. And you might ask them to repeat themselves, and they'll get mad, and why weren't you listening, and all kinds of stuff. But basically what it boils down to is that we just had bad communication. So when we have a good cell signal, and your significant other calls you up and says, hey, I need you to stop at the grocery store on the way home from work and pick up a can of tomatoes and some beef and a 12-pack of beverages, you're going to do it, no problems, because the communication was restored. You had 5 bars on your cell signal. And so what we're going to do to your animal's nervous system is go in with our hands, remove vertebral subluxations that are causing a decrease in communication, decrease in the amount of signal that's going through. And we're going to increase that and allow your animal to communicate with its body better. Therefore, the signals that he sends to the body will be more appropriate. How much digestion do we need to do? How much fight and flight do we need to do? What's our heart rate supposed to be? All those things are determined by the brain and determined by appropriate feedback. Animal chiropractic helps make all those things go smoother. What we do as animal chiropractors is facilitate. Your animal is responsible for his own or her own healing. Now, there are things you can do, appropriate exercise, appropriate diet, not too much exercise, not too much, but appropriate, and in a way that's going to build the muscles that are weak on your animal spine. And, what about limiting stuff? Should we limit jumping? Should we limit, X, Y, Z? Well, it would be nice if we could do that, but what's that going to cause for stress? If you don't allow your animal out of his cage, if you make him crate rest, and he's used to having run of the house, if you put your horse in a stall and he's used to being on 190 acres of pasture, all those things are going to cause stress. Stress leads to subluxations. There's three things that cause vertebral subluxations that we know of. Three big things: thoughts, traumas, toxins. So, the traumas we usually know. My dog jumped off the couch and yelped because he landed wrong. Okay, that's a trauma, caused subluxations. What about thoughts? Oh my gosh, how come I'm being punished? Why is he keeping me in the cage? I don't understand. Why don't I get to go run? All those things are huge to a dog or a horse. So, those all cause problems. And then the last one is toxins, and we know we're full of toxins in our environment nowadays. So how often do we need to see the chiropractor? Well, your animal probably needs to see the chiropractor at least once a month for the rest of his life, because the body heals only one way: above, down, inside out. And it requires an intact, properly functioning nervous system to do that. Have a great day.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com, where you can subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing.
Helping others experience an abundant life with the gift, art, and blessing that is Animal Chiropractic is our sole mission at All Creatures Every Spine. It's what we do. It's what we love. It truly is what keeps us motivated to help people just like you. I truly love the art of chiropractic. It drives me to provide the highest level of chiropractic possible. And as fellow chiropractic business owners, it's that love that drives us to become better. However, the reality is that sometimes running a successful business can be challenging. Sometimes there can be obstacles to overcome. We all know the old saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it. Well, one thing that is really easy is marketing our clinic with a professional animal chiropractic website by the Chiro Website Pro, Tony Seymour. He's a professional web designer, and his team at Chiro Website Pro take good care of us. They simply make marketing our practice 100% hassle-free. If you're looking for the #1 hands-free way to market your practice, give the Chiro Website Pro a call at 423-779-4630, or simply visit www.chirowebsitepro.com and make sure you ask them about the special ACES discount and let them know Dr. Amy and Dr. O sent you. You'll be glad.
Hello everyone, and welcome to barfworld.com. If you're seeing this video, it typically means you're interested in trying our 90-day challenge. If your pet is suffering from allergies, kidney issues, obesity, diabetes, or even cancer, our food can help with that. So if you're ready to see your pet's health dramatically improve in just 90 days, call us and schedule your consultation today. Hope to talk to you guys soon.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Stan Smith. I'm the CEO of X-Dog and the inventor of the X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest. What is the X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest? In a nutshell, it is the world's greatest harness for dogs. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're looking to build muscle, combat obesity, address anxiety issues, high energy, you want to suppress that energy level. If you just want to take the average walk and turning into a health improving workout, we made it so convenient to exercise your dog that you literally only need about 30 seconds a day. It doesn't matter if you're doing basic obedience training or compete at high level dog sports or in protection sports. The X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest can enhance it and take any type of daily lifestyle to the next level. If you want to be part of our mission of eliminating canine obesity or just being a part of our team, make sure you go to teamxdog.com. As always, man, I want to thank you for your time and your support, and Team X Dog Strong.
Standard Process is a third-generation family-owned company in rural Wisconsin. You could say we just make nutritional supplements, but we know we're changing lives. We grow ingredients on our own certified organic farm without pesticides or herbicides because we think they should be as close to nature as possible. Quality is our priority. That's why we do everything right here, from hand-picking the seeds to delivery, so you know exactly what goes into every bottle.
Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. I'm your host, Dr. O, and I have with us today Dr. Rebecca Hendricks. Tell us a little bit about where you reside and how do I find you?
Oh, you find me by following the snow trail. I am in Greeley, Colorado, which is just north of Denver. We are lucky enough to have CSU in our background, so we're from CSU, Colorado State University. We're about 45 minutes or so. We are a practice of 2 as of right now. Sometimes it's 3, depending on the year. We are lucky enough, though, both Dr. Gaddis and myself are both certified in animal chiropractic, and we are also both certified in acupuncture. So you can find me on like the ABCA website to find a doc vet link. Dr. Gaddis, I believe, is on the IVCA one. Or obviously word of mouth, Facebook, Block and Bridle, email, all over the place. Call Dr. O, Dr. Amy, you can always find me there.
ACE alumni page.
Yes, find the ACES page. We are on there.
All right. Okay. So how has, let's start with the easy question. How has animal chiropractic changed your life?
Oh, you know, I love and hate that question at the same time because it's so open-ended that I feel like you're just setting yourself up to get kicked in the butt. But, you know, it's changed how I view, honestly, everything that I do, because I think, especially at ACES, the first day your whole thought process has changed. And in vet school, you're so trained to think of, here's your list of differentials, here's your things that are wrong, here's how you fix it. And you see what's in front of you and you fix what's in front of you. You don't stop to think about what caused that. You don't stop to think about the root of the issue. And my kind of example that I picked up at ACES that I still use with clients is, horse comes in with a bowed tendon, you see the tendon, you figure out why, you fix it. But why did they bow that tendon? You don't bother to look up the chain or down the chain to figure out why. So for me, it's changed how I approach problem solving, and I try to get to the root of things. It's also changed how I view quote unquote preventive care and maintenance, instead of just, you know, typical vaccines, deworming, wellnesses, dental exams, things like that. I look at chiropractic and subluxations as a way of keeping the body kind of at its normal homeostasis and sort of just getting out of its way sometimes, which I never really thought about before. So honestly, it's kind of changed ground up for me. You know, we're still a general practice, so we still do a lot of medicine and, you know, quote unquote traditional medicine and those kinds of things. But it's still, my whole way of problem solving and processing patients is totally shifted.
Cool. I agree. We still have it. We use it in one of our You're Good Enough seminars that we talk about, because we feel that, you know, that's a big thing that as veterinarians have, this problem with self-esteem. But you sent a text message to us and said that, you know, every wellness exam includes an atlas adjustment. Still?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It if you do it right, it becomes just part of your daily norm, and it's not even something that you think about anymore. You look at a horse and you're like, wow, there's a subluxation. Here's what it can cause. Let's fix that, instead of fixing the problem in a year down the road. So I think once the farther out you get from learning, you get so much information in at ACEs and in chiropractic school that sometimes I think it takes a while to integrate that in just to daily life and figure out how it works into your habits and your systems. But once it does, it's sort of, it kind of just comes second nature of you're doing a wellness exam. You're also kind of looking at chiropractic structure. So it kind of just comes part and parcel as you start to get farther out, I think, and use it more in your practice.
Cool. So what's tell us about some of your biggest wins with animal chiropractic.
Oh, so if you're not familiar with Colorado, so we're a little bit more rural where we're at. We're not too far from Denver, but we're definitely considered a rural practice. We are double-edged sword, lucky enough, and sometimes have the challenges enough to have a lot of racehorse patients. So a lot of quarter horse racehorses, which, it is kind of a different can of worms. We don't need to delve into that, but, I think the race industry is very, they have a lot of blinkers on, which, in their horses and in their training. And one of our biggest wins has actually been getting racehorse trainers and owners to see the benefits of chiropractic care, which has been a really hard inroad for us, because the race industry as a whole is very short-sighted, and you see what's in front of you. You have joint effusion, you inject it, you roll on, you race. And so we've been really lucky in having a lot of our racehorse trainers seeing the benefits of chiropractic, and they're coming to us the week before. They know when their races are, they schedule the week before, and they come in and get those adjustments done, and they're seeing their starts out the gates much better. Quarter horse racehorses, compared to thoroughbreds, have a much shorter track. So that start is huge for those guys. Seeing the benefits of both chiropractic and acupuncture, and, whether it's improving race times, whether it's maintaining joint soundness, staving off joint effusion injections, things like that. So I think for me, that's probably been one of my biggest wins, is getting animal chiropractic into a venue that is typically against, quote unquote, that kind of a treatment. So that's been really big for us.
Nice. You do some small animal work too.
Sort of. Don't tell people that. We do small animal work in the sense of I do chiropractic and acupuncture. We aren't a small animal clinic in the sense of, quote unquote, traditional medicine, lamenesses per se. I mean, we'll do chiropractics and those kinds of things to address lamenesses and quality of life and well-being and, all those kinds of things, but we aren't a small animal clinic. But yeah, we do, I do chiropractic in quite a few small animals, mostly dogs and cats. Haven't done birds or anything like that yet, but predominantly dogs. Will get a lot of, the farm dogs that are starting to age and get sore. I'm actually right now doing some chiropractic and acupuncture on a large breed dog that has suspected cruciate tears in the stifle. So instead of doing surgery on that dog, we're doing some combination therapies, some chiropractic, some acupuncture, cold laser, things like that. So it's nice to have that skill. It's very, to me, it's a lot different than doing chiropractic on the horses, and in the horse world, it's a different clientele. It's a little bit of a different mentality. It's obviously a lot different physically, but it's nice to have that skill set in my back pocket to be able to help those guys out.
Yeah, I found since we moved here to the ranch, and we just don't have anything here, except for chiropractic, and we get patients that come in, that in the past would have gotten surgery and drugs and
Right.
And so now our conversation starts with, all we can do here is chiropractic. Our practice is limited. Your animal's not dying, immediately.
Right.
So we have some time. Let's
we can adjust and see what happens. And I recommend 3 visits. And
Exactly.
sometimes chiropractic amazes me, you know,
Right.
because
Yep.
it's like, wow, I didn't. And they're like, oh my God, doc, you're amazing. And I'm like, yeah, man, I didn't do that. That your
Right.
dog,
Take those wins where you can get them.
yeah, your dog did that, you know.
Yeah.
All we did was, like you said, got out of its way.
Mhm. Yep. And it's nice to have those success stories to be able to, and every patient, they're not machines, they're creatures, right? So not every patient responds the same, because not every, even the same situation, say a cranial cruciate tear in 2 dogs of the same exact size, they're not going to respond the same. So I think being able to shift and tailor specifically to each patient, even if the situation appears the same, but being able to tailor what you're doing to that patient. And if you can, kind of slide back behind it and do some, additional modalities, like on the one patient that I'm now recently working on, sliding in some acupuncture for some different healing and pain management, and some cold laser and things like that, that may not be necessary in a different case, but being able to have multiple tools in your toolbox to be able to treat those patients to the best that they can be, and to the best limitations of what their owners can feasibly do for them. But I think those success stories in our practice are really big in kind of conveying, what chiropractic can do, whether it's in dogs or in horses. And we've got success stories, across the board. And those are the ones I think we need to hang on to help those clients understand.
Well, and sometimes it's nice on those bad days,
Mm-hmm.
We have a wall now that didn't have it when you were here.
Oh, okay.
So this is the clinic, and I don't even think the clinic was finished when you were here.
I don't think so.
It now has walls and everything.
Fancy.
But one whole wall is called the cake wall.
Okay.
And it is chiropractically adjusted, canine with a K, and equine. And it's just pictures of all these different dogs. And we have the ability to frame our pictures because 2 years ago, my folks moved from 45 years in the same house to a 1-bedroom assisted living. And I inherited all these picture frames that had pictures of people I was supposed to know in them.
Didn't know him.
I didn't know any of them. And but I had to bring them, you can't throw those away. So we brought them home, and I'm like, what am I going to do with them? And I don't know. I think maybe we can show you a little bit here.
Can you pan around? Oh, yeah. Well, see, there's 2 open spots right there. I'm going to have to send you some equine success stories to put in there.
Yeah, we got some. Well, and I tell the clients, send me pictures. We'll put them up. So we've got a few pictures for sure.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. So, well, what do you wish every practice member or animal owner in your area knew about animal chiropractic?
Oh, you're going to get me on a soapbox, Dr. O.
Yes.
We don't have enough time for my soapbox.
Oh, yeah, we always do. Go ahead. Go for it.
I think, and this might be answering another question. I don't know if it is. We're just going to tag team this question here. I think one of my biggest difficulties with animal chiropractic is part and parcel with what I wished animal owners knew, which is that not every animal chiropractor or person that performs animal chiropractic adjustments is equivalent. And it just grates me. I'm not saying that and this might go back to the whole value yourself thing, but, I'm not saying that I'm this perfect person or that I am, brilliant and better than the person next to me, but
you are
right, I'm an ace. But at this, in the same vein, there's a lot of lay people out there. We see a lot of farriers. We see a lot of equine massage therapists. We see a lot of non-trained trainers. We see a lot of non-trained human chiropractors that make the leap over into animal chiropractic care, and it is so much deeper than that. Like, even myself as a licensed and trained veterinarian, legally I'm allowed to do chiropractic because I'm a veterinarian, which is a whole nother soapbox. But then you go to chiropractic school and you learn about these things, and it is so much deeper than just cracking bones and realigning spines. I mean, there's so much more to it that it gives the industry, I think, an already step in the negative direction, trying to retrain those folks, because they say, well, gosh, I had somebody out and they did chiropractic and it didn't work. Well, okay, well, is that because the person wasn't doing it correctly? Or, so I think I guess to answer your question, I wish everybody out there that owned animals knew that chiropractic care can be a phenomenal tool if done appropriately by somebody who is trained and knows not only the benefits of it, but the limitations of it. Because I think, the same with veterinary medicine as well, sometimes knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing when to keep going. So you could have this horse that is now traveling funny and its front end, lo and behold, it's got, a bone chip or a fracture in its cervical vertebrae. Your massage therapist is out there and they're like, oh, let me just adjust its neck real quick. You adjust its neck and you've now taken a minor problem and made it a total train wreck. So I think if everybody could realize that, A, you get what you pay for, and B, having somebody who is trained and knows what they're doing can be the difference between it being a chiropractic success story and a chiropractic failure. And I think that's kind of my next biggest goal, is to try to continue to push that out there, that it has so much benefit and so much potential if it's in the right hands, in the right cases.
Yeah.
That was a soapbox. Sorry.
That's okay. And in Colorado, you have one of the easier soapboxes to climb up on, because Colorado chiropractic law says you have to be AVCA certified, or not AVCA certified, but have gone to an AVCA certified school in order to do animal chiropractic. So you must have completed 210 hours to do animal chiropractic. They have to get a separate animal chiropractic license in Colorado. In Texas, and not so much, just says the veterinarian's responsible, which isn't right either, because before you went to school, to chiropractic school, you couldn't have supervised.
No. Well, and you wouldn't know what's right and what, like, you'd have no clue. Like, yeah, I can see you're not trying to break that dog's leg, but that's about the extent of it. Even as simple as something from, the angles of the facets. I mean, yes, you learn about spinal angles and things like that in vet school, but you don't actually take time to sit there and look from T13 to L1. What's the difference in the angulation? So if I'm supervising somebody doing chiropractic and I don't know those things, for all I know, they're doing it right, when in fact, their angles are completely wrong, and they're not only doing nothing, but potentially causing more damage so it's, just because you're a veterinarian doesn't mean you know diddly squat about chiropractic.
Well, yeah, I agree. So, because I had one that they sent me x-rays. It was from a rescue. Hey, this dog came in and here's his x-rays. Do you think you can help him? He had traumatic bilateral luxations of the SI joints.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm like, probably. Yeah.
No.
Well, guess what? About 10 minutes later, so the lady had left for a 2-hour drive when she sent me the email. Like, she did it at the same time. Well,
then she shows up at your front door.
Yeah, she's at the clinic and she says, here's the dog I sent you the x-rays on. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get a before video. So put him down. And he's walking.
Impressive.
Not real good, but he's walking. So I adjusted his atlas, and just his atlas, There was absolutely no way to do a leg length check on him. The first animal in 22 years that I couldn't do that even just finding his 2% collies made no sense because they were obviously gone, you know. Adjusted his atlas, put him down, and he got better.
Good.
And I'm like, okay. So we'll see. They're like, oh, he's gaining weight and he's running around. And I'm like,
reduce the running, please.
So as a veterinarian, I'm like, yeah, no, that, probably nothing, no movement,
Right.
Oh, and you got to amputate something because those have to hurt, right? Those SI joints, they don't seem to be causing him any problems. He eats, he drinks, he pees, he poops, does all the important things, that we sometimes forget about.
Right.
What that tells me his autonomic nervous system is pretty much in balance.
Right.
Which if he had excessive pain would not be in balance.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway.
Yeah. See what he does.
Yeah, but before, if you looked at those x-rays, you're like, oh, and then they come in and we drove 2 hours. What are you going to do for us?
Try something, right?
Nothing. I guess I can adjust his atlas.
Right. When in doubt.
Yeah. Like you said, always adjust the atlas, right?
Right.
Anyway, so, well, anything else? Any parting words of wisdom?
Oh, parting words of wisdom, adjust the atlas. No, I guess I would say my biggest, and this isn't really parting words of wisdom, but my biggest recommendation or thought, and I probably need to tell myself this half the time too, is trust in your knowledge and your skills and know that in the right hands, it is extremely powerful. And, you have to, just like with everything else, there's certain audiences that you're not necessarily going to immediately change their ways of thinking. And there's certain people that you're probably not ever going to change their ways of thinking. And that doesn't mean that those people or groups of people aren't worth continuing to educate. It just means that you have to trust in what you know, and that the greater good that you're doing, even if there's some groups that aren't quite going to get on board. Like when I first started doing chiropractic, I thought there is absolutely no way that these match racing horses are, that have more drugs running through them than you even know how to spell, are ever going to do chiropractic, because, in their world, it's voodoo witchcraft and a whole waste of time. And here we are doing, I would say, animal chiropractic on probably 60% of our racehorse patients, which I never thought would ever happen. And you just have to be patient and show people what it can do. And I think actions will speak louder than your words. So when they see a horse that's doing really well at the track, and what's different between their horse and the other horse, well, this one's getting chiropractic and it's starting better. So be patient and trust in your skills and what you can do, I would say, is my parting words. You bet. That's so important. And some of it's having an owner that is has a huge attitude of gratitude. Yes. And I had the honor of adjusting the only barrel racing horse to win the Martha Josie reunion 3 years out of 4. But she never told anybody. And right. I am not a barrel racing horse genius. I also had the honor of adjusting the world's fastest flyball dog 2 days before it became the world's fastest flyball dog. Very cool. 3 days later, I was a flyball expert. Right. Your phone lines were lit up. It did. I mean, we had like 20 flyball dogs in the next week. And I'm like, they were telling me, and I'm like, I better learn about the sport. I better brush up on my knowledge. I don't know anything about it. I'm just finding it, fixing it, leaving it alone. And these dogs are running faster. So
I must be doing something right.
Yeah. And I think, and I think that's part of it is too, you kind of touched on it, is surrounding yourself with clientele that appreciate all that you have to offer, whether it's general medicine or chiropractic or acupuncture, and are willing to quote unquote sing your praises, if you will, because word of mouth, I think, is probably one of the best forms of advertisement and forms of flattery. You know what I mean? Yep. So like you said, your barrel racing client didn't really say anything. So it kind of ended, buck ended with her or him. But, having those clients that are willing to say, here's what was done and look how good it worked. And, spread your knowledge base through their own group, I think is huge, because otherwise you're never going to reach those people unless they seek you out, or you happen to come in contact with them at, one way or the other. So I think having that client base that appreciates you and is willing to tell other people about what you're doing, I think is huge.
Well, and I do too, because especially if we, you mentioned earlier, Facebook, social media, and if you're on any of the vet groups, man, clients tearing us down is terrible. And, we have the number one suicide rate of any profession in the world. So a lot of us have problems with self-esteem and all that. And, how many of your chiropractic patients would, if you were having a bad day, would be like, oh no, doc, I don't, get over it, because I got to see you tomorrow. My dog needs you, my horse needs you. Right.
Yep. And, and I think some of that comes a little bit with time and with establishment, as far as you can, and maybe we need to be better about doing this earlier in time and establishment, but having the luxury of saying, you know what, I don't need those clients. I don't need the clients that are, I'm always putting out fires, and I help their horse and they're appreciative because they're doing well and performing well, but that's kind of where it ends. You do get to a point where either your practice is built up enough, or you have been in the industry long enough that you just, this sounds horrible, but you don't need those clients. It's the 1% of clients that take up 90% of your emotional anxiety and angst, and being able to say and feel okay saying, you know what, I don't need that client. I hope your patient does well and seeks care, but for my own well-being, I don't need that in my life. And I think that is a true gift. And the sooner you are able to do that, I think the better. And those clients are going to burn through vets, because nobody's going to put up with it, and they're going to realize that, you know what, this isn't working. And hopefully they'll figure that out, I guess.
Well, and maybe they will, maybe they won't, but there again, we can only control me.
Yeah. Yep.
I can only control me and how I react to them. And so, and the more I can remember that, we had some problems getting this meeting together. You canceled, I canceled, we were late, whatever, but we could have, both of us said, screw it.
Right.
But, we didn't. And it was like, no, things happen. We'll be fine. We'll get it on, And, I enjoyed our conversation. So anyway, to everybody out there that's listening, remember, the body heals one way and one way only, above, down, inside out. Keep your atlas adjusted. Until next time.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.